Hey, what's up, guys? This is Ricky V, and this is episode number 25 of the Elite Fitness podcast. And in this episode, we continue the conversation with Guru Ameen Alai. We get deep into steroids, dosing, what the pros use. This is a real interesting podcast. And without further ado, part two of the interview with Guru Ameen Alai.
Bet you something right now. Don't think that the top coaches don't have some sort of Midnight Express connection to some of these countries. They do. I do. If I do, they do. I know they do. They're copies of me. Of course they
Right.
do. You know, they
Absolutely.
got to. I can't. You don't think for a second. I don't think. I mean, this is mean, man. And if I'm thinking this, I'm hoping that they're thinking this, right? But Hani's Persian. And I'm sure he's got lots of family over there, you know. I'm sure somehow, some way, they're making sure that Hadi has whatever he needs, one way or another, whether he's here or over there, and all the other clients
Bodybuilding
that
is
he
huge in that
has.
part of the world now, man. All over that area,
Huge,
it's
bro.
growing just
Huge,
incredible.
huge.
Oxygen
And
Gym
and
and
y-
some of
you
these other
could
places.
you could literally get a network of people from the Middle East to send all your client stuff. I mean, it wouldn't be hard at all. One guy sends one package, a small package. The guy gets it. This guy gets it. They're all small packages will go through. It's just the big packages that won't. But if you have an army of people that are followers that are all into what you do in a place where they don't even care, they'll just send it, then you can have a lot of clients in America looking really good. And then at the show, everybody wonders why your guys are winning. Oh man, you guys are taking UGL. My guys are taking real pharma. And there's a big difference because the real pharma shit you hold less water off of. You really do.
Crazy. I see some guys on the forum saying they want to do a bulking and they're going to do 40 milligrams of Debo with aromas. And I'm like, just do fucking 10 milligrams and don't use any aromas. And if you're trying to bulk, right, just do 10, 20
Do
and don't use that. Or if you want to go that high, use fucking Turinabol and then save, don't take the other shit. But I think
no,
you are absolutely right.
you can do 40 milligrams of D-bol, but you have to use the rotation I invented, which is 2 days of an androgen, then 2 days of an anabolic, then 2 days of an androgen, then one day off, and then the other way around. You understand what I'm
Explain
saying?
that.
So let's
Explain
say
that.
for
It's interesting.
Monday, Tuesday, 40 milligrams of D-bol, Wednesday, Thursday, 40 milligrams of Anavar, Thursday, Friday, 40 milligrams. Uh, Hold on. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sorry, Friday, Saturday, uh, to 40 milligrams of D-bol, Sunday off. Monday, Tuesday, 40 milligrams of Anavar. Wednesday, Thursday, 40 milligrams of D-bol. Friday, Saturday, 40 milligrams of Anavar. Sunday off. And the reason why is after 2 days of taking the androgen, you still haven't really started to convert that much yet. So if you cut it off right there and you add the anabolic in to keep your nitrogen level high, so 40 milligrams of Anavar will hold you. Then it's just like taking D-bol for the first 2 days every time. And those first 2 days you take D-bol, you get strong, you look good, you're not holding water, everything's great. So if you can repeat that over and over and over again throughout the month, you get solid gains from D-bol instead of holding water. It's when you take too much of D-bol too long. That's the problem. When you take it too much too long.
Well, Devo was developed for powerlifters. It's a powerlifting steroid. It's supposed to give you a little bit of water retention, some strength. I don't know if a lot of guys are utilizing it properly or
Well,
understand
so
that's what it's for.
now D-bol, no steroid was invented for athletic purposes. I want to make that clear.
The guy who invented Dianabol was the doctor for the Olympic
Ziegler.
weightlifting team.
Yeah,
And
I
yep,
know.
nope, you know
I,
the story. You know
I,
the story.
no, I know the whole story, but that's not why it was. Okay, so what ended up happening? It was invented to be a better form of testosterone, a better oral form of testosterone, and
For
it
athletes,
succeeded.
for the powerlifters, right? Yeah.
For anybody suffering from a nitrogen deficiency, you know what I mean. And they figured out
Uh,
how to use it for sports at an early age, and it worked out great. But here's the thing, right? Anything that's used for strength and for size, at the end of the day, these are other effects of the drug. Like Winstrol makes you fast, Anavar makes you strong, but it doesn't make you necessarily powerlifting strong. D-ball makes you more powerlifting strong. It's pretty much, that's the way it is. Anadrol makes you big and strong too, but not strong like D-ball, but it makes you kind of big in D-ball, you know? Tranabol is like a dry
Right.
D-ball. It's like a dry D-ball, but you don't get quite as
Yeah.
strong from it because the water has something to do with the strength. And so every one of these steroids has some sort of different attribute when the human takes it that is similar to all people, and that are these attributes that we as coaches and scientists have figured out that it's the best field for these. Now, when you look at bodybuilding, there's always some sort of advantage to being powerlifting, like Ronnie Coleman showed, lifting power. I call it power bodybuilding. And power bodybuilding is where you get these big freaks. You get these guys that are lifting 400-pound inclines, for reps, and like Akeem, he's a power bodybuilder.
Yep.
Bundy, I help. He's a big power bodybuilder. This guy's mad strong. And when you lift to be
Lift
that,
heavy.
yeah, when you lift to be heavy like that, but at the same time, you don't need to be powerlifting strong and powerlifting big. You need to have some of it, but not full steam. So that's where I say, do the 2 days of an anabolic, 2 days of androgen. And you could do that anadrol anavar. You could do anadrol winstrol. You could do anything with primo tabs. Doesn't matter. You could do anavar tranabol. You can do D-ball Tranabol. You can do Anadrol and D-ball. Now that's the powerlifting stack I have is 2 days of D-ball, 2 days of Anadrol, 2 days of D-ball, 1 day off. And the day off is a day that you don't lift, and you can do cardio, but you don't lift. And usually you just kind of like sleep in a little bit later, get more rest, and eat one meal less, but then have the rest of the meals a little bit bigger. So have like brunch and then lunch and then dinner and then another meal after that.
Sounds like a
And
protocol to just make the most out of the animal. Sounds interesting, actually.
and Anadrol actually it works really good for both of them if you take that. I mean, see, the thing is that the
Right.
reason that you get most out of both drugs is because you start getting side effects from the drugs when your body starts getting a tolerance. Your body
Yeah.
starts getting a tolerance after 3 to 4 days. So although you
Yeah.
might start saying that's when you notice the drug, what you notice is the constant nitrogen retention, which happens from every single steroid. So it really doesn't matter which ones you take. You could take 7 different steroids a
Right.
week, 7 different orals. As long as you have something in you, you're going to get some progress. And that
Right.
progress is going to be somewhat sculpted to the steroids. So like if you take Anavar on Monday, you'll be a little stronger, but you'll be harder. On Tuesday, if you take Anadrol, you'll blow up a little bit, but it's just one day, so it's not going to be that noticeable. Wednesday, if you took D-ball, because you took an androgen on Tuesday, you're going to look pretty big on D-ball day. And then if you go to primo tabs, you dry out. Uh, Tyrannobol, you stay pretty dry and pretty strong. So you could do that if you wanted to. You still going to be toxic.
I can see that because all of us that obsess with this stuff, we see a different guy in front of the mirror in the morning, one in the afternoon, different guy
Yeah,
in front of the mirror at night. So any
yeah.
of us that obsess over this could absolutely see the difference from a day to day of dosing orals that way. That's real interesting.
I mean,
Well,
we stack
one
them
of the
when we
things.
get ready for a show. We stack. We'll
Yeah,
take
yeah.
oral Winstrol with oral Anabar, and if you have oral Primobolan, we'll throw that in there too. And shit, some people take Anadrol all the way up close to the show. I mean, you'd have a better chance of getting ready for a show with Anadrol than D-ball. That's for sure.
So, what dosage of orals would a competitor do leading up to a show? I usually, and again, I help guys that are more just rec users, Big Bob going to the office. It's the kind of guys that reach out to me. I just tell them, man, keep it under 60 milligrams of anything. 40 milligrams should be kind of your ideal for anybody that's not going into a show. Now, a competitor, how much orals or how much of and how long would they be doing something coming up to a show?
Well, it's really hard to discuss this because when we talk about this, we're not really talking about definitive numbers because everybody's stuff seems to be different these days. You know,
Right.
so your Winstrol that may come in 25 milligram tabs, they may really only be like 15, and some other guys his may really be like 28. And so it's
If we
hard to
got
say, but
legitimate stuff,
if
just
we
to
had
condense the
yeah
conversation today, if we got straight legit, something from Kuwait, got it flown in,
yeah
some good shit
right.
from Greece. What
You know,
could we expect
people
from stuff?
don't. People in America that I've seen them take up to 100 milligrams of Anabar. Shit, they Shelby has some women taking 100 milligrams of Anabar, believe it or not. And if you had real pharmaceutical Anabar, man, I don't know, 30 milligrams is a lot. It's a lot, dude. You feel like an animal,
I
and that's the
I drop
difference. It's that.
I drop a little bit more than four body fat percentage points in like 5 weeks on just about 40 mgs of Anavar a day, and just good diet, fasting in between. And I mean, good Anavar, really
Yeah,
good when you
man.
can get legit Anavar. I mean, it's fucking incredible.
Man, and it makes you feel good too. You don't hold really any water off of it, and you're strong. You don't get that full look, but you definitely can get dry off of it. You can get real dry off of it.
Yeah. So, uh, now, when it comes to dosages, a lot of the leisure guys out there, I mean, the rec users that I talk to a lot, we all wonder how much are these guys really doing? Because some of them will say, no, it's just great genetics and they're only using, 500, a
No, they're
thousand
taking
milligrams.
they're taking 100 milligrams. They are. They're taking. They're competing. 100 milligrams of Winstrol, 100 milligrams of I don't know why everybody's but that's what they're doing.
So in a week, total in a week, would they be taking 2, 3 grams of gear in a week or less?
Yep.
Or does
Yep.
that range from guy to guy?
No, that's about right. Yeah. And now that's actually about right. And then you got the idiots that are even dumber than the first round, and they're at like the 5 gram range, and that's when you're just like really like your shit must be fake. There's no way. Like it's just not necessary.
5 grams is a lot.
I mean,
I tell guys that are not stepping on stage, if you got to do more than a meg, 1,000 milligrams a week to get good results, really great results, then you just don't have the genetics. You probably should attempt something.
they don't even know, man. Listen, I had a client tell me that he went ahead and bought the Roy test kit and found out all his shit was fake.
That
Could you
is
believe
true.
that?
Oh,
So
yeah, of
these
course, that
guys
shit happens.
taking, they don't feel it. They're taking 3, 4, and 5 cc's and don't feel it. I mean, well, they don't feel it because there ain't shit in there. It ain't real. So
Right.
at the end of the day, man, like that's why I say pharma grade stuff. At least whether it works on you or not, it's a standard. You know what that dose is supposed to do, and then if you get a UGL, you can compare it. Well, I know what 200 milligrams of pharma grade test did. Let's see what a CC of this 200 milligram stuff does. And if it's not the same, you'll know right off the bat because you did the real stuff.
I have noticed that if you nowadays everything is underground labs. Back in the day, I started way back when people used to argue whether you taking human made from Greece or Germany was better than some of the stuff being made for
Mm-hmm.
veterinarian market in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
those labs making stuff for the veterinarian market in Mexico, that stuff was being tested for heavy metals, for potency. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's a process that went along with that. Shit, I was even way back before Trembolone came back into the scene, and guys were extracting it from
The
Phenoplex H
pellets.
pellets.
Yeah,
Yep,
I did
and
that.
gave you golf ball size knots when you shot that stuff. That stuff, I
Not
lost.
the shit I had. Not the shit I
You got
made.
well. I tell you what. I learned to triple filter it later on, but with those
Yeah,
Whiteman
that's the
filters,
key. That's the key.
yeah, the first one I didn't filter it. It was a little bit cloudy,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and then after that, I learned you had to triple filter that shit until there was
Yeah.
just
Yeah. That's the
absolutely
key.
no,
Triple filter.
until it was just see through like piss, and then you could
Uh,
actually mess with it. And it's funny enough, that's oxidation that happens to Trembolone over time because that tint gets stronger as time goes on.
yeah, it gets
Trembolone is
darker.
fun. Trembolone is funny that way. It's still kind of active, doing stuff. There's even a study
I
I
mean,
read where Trembolone is an environmental contaminant. And what's crazy about it is they couldn't find it when they took tests during the day because on sunlight, Trembolone would move molecules around and become something else, become undetectable. But when they
uh,
took the samples at night, then they could detect the Trembolone in the waterways. And apparently, it was actually affecting the way fish were reproducing in the area. It's just something
sure.
funny about Trembolone. Trembolone is a
I believe
very
it.
weird a steroid. I think one of the things I felt it does is it kind of multiplies the way everything else works. So if you're doing a cycle,
I
whether you're doing
agree. I
if you add
agree.
Trenbolone, it
Yep.
just makes everything else work so much better.
Yep.
It's pretty incredible.
Like, I mean, if you're trying to get big and you take Trenbolone and D-ball or Trenbolone or an Anadrol and test, you're getting huge, 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 huge. It's fast. I don't give a
Yeah,
fuck who you
big.
are. You can be Steve Urkel, you're getting big. Um,
That's right. For
that
cutting
would be
too.
the transformation, right? Take Steve Urkel and turn him into Sean Roden, right?
You know, there's gonna be a few celebrities that have gone from skinny or from fat to muscular. You remember when Carrot Top was fucking huge?
Oh yeah,
Remember
but
Carrot?
his face got fucked up, dude. What happened to that fool?
Didn't
Did he
he
get
didn't he have
plastic
operations in
surgery or
his face?
some
Yeah,
shit?
plastic
Yeah,
surgery.
some
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
But I remember
Oh,
Carrot Top was just funny, and then one day he was just fucking ripped, like just
yeah.
abs and everything, just
You could
fucking
tell he was
crazy.
roided out though. He had pimples and shit. He was
Yeah,
yeah.
Dr. Dre looked
He
fucking
had
crazy
he had
for a
I
while.
remember I saw fucking one time. Yeah, I saw that shit. I saw one time and he had like a looked like he had an injection mark in his shoulder. I was like, this fool, look at him. God on TV with that shit.
And, and,
He
and,
knew it.
and that fat guy isn't the fat guy from Superbad? Isn't he fucking ripped now too? Remember that fat kid
I
from
think
Super?
so.
Remember
Yeah,
that?
I
You know
think
what I'm
so
talking
too.
about, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah, yeah. The
he's
one
like
with
he's
hair.
got like that the humor where he just keeps kind of ranting on. He just keeps kind of
Yeah.
like a chatty kind of talky humor. That I heard he's. I think I've seen a picture of him on social. He's
I
fucking
tell
ripped
you
now
what,
too.
that'd be something we should try to organize that. That'd be great, right? Get all the celebrities to have a bodybuilding show, and then whoever has the best celebrity wins the celebrity all-star championships or something like that.
Ben Affleck was fucking was roided the fuck out too. It seems like for a
Man,
while.
if I had Ben Affleck, bro, if I had a coach and I had Ben Affleck and I got that fool on growth, insulin, some fucking Anadrol, shit, some fucking Primo, Master, man, I'd have Ben Affleck looking good. I bet you if Ben Affleck followed my program, I bet you I'd get in with the Nationals, Masters Nationals. I bet you.
It's interesting, man.
Ben, if you're out there, you can
He's
contact
got
me
he
at
he
my
he got he
email.
got he got J Lo now.
Yeah, I'll do J Lo for free. Literally, I will do her for free. As a matter of fact, I tell you what, man, I'll pay you to do J Lo.
She looks incredible, does she? She's at 50 something. She
She's
looks
fucking
fucking good.
unbelievable, man. She doesn't age. She's like wine. She just keeps getting better and better. Man, I love me some J Lo.
She's probably gonna
J
get
Lo, hold on, J Lo, if you're listening, you can holler at your boy right here. Okay, Ben is cool. I'll get him in shape, and I'll get you too.
so what about
Make
The
sure you
Rock?
tag J
I
Lo.
mean, the Rock is yeah, we're gonna tag J Lo and everybody we're mentioning get tagged with this video. Where The Rock, that dude is old too, and he looks fucking good, doesn't he?
The Rock, bro, the Hani's helping the Rock, and again, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Hani's showing the Rock some Persian love, helping him out with some things that might be a little difficult for him to get without a prescription or without a doctor in America.
You got to hand it to this guy. This guy travels with a huge fucking gym wherever he's shooting. He
Gotta
has
give
his
it to
gym.
him, man.
Got
Yeah.
he has his gym flowing in. He's in there.
Arnold did that. Arnold
Before.
did that
Yeah.
too. So did Stallone. They both did that. Like a lot of the top celebrities do that. You'd be surprised, man. As a matter of fact, I think that's probably a business now. Is those gyms that show up for celebrities, those portable gyms? That's probably a whole business now.
Some of the top level ones, they have their equipment they love. Like we all do at our gym that we go to every day. We got
Yeah.
the equipment that we love, and they just bring their own shit and take it everywhere. There's got to be who the fuck is coaching all these guys, man. I mean I help people out, but
I know
I'm not
who's
in that
I know
vein,
who's
and I don't
not.
know
I
anybody
know I
that
know I'm
is.
not. I should be, but I'm not. But I should
Who the
be.
fuck is
So
in that vein doing
because
that,
the
helping these
greatest thing that you see, like even when the Hugh Jackman got ready for Wolverine, he was definitely on gear, no question. Brad Pitt got ready for Fight Club. There's no question he was on Anavar. I mean, come on, dude, look at the guy. You
these guys are
serious?
getting millions. These guys are getting millions for a film. You throw me 50,000, I'll go stay
Fuck,
at a
come on.
cottage in your house. I'll go stay at your
But who?
cottage
See, here's the
for
thing, though.
50 bucks.
Who's
Yeah.
who's they've got? That's the thing. They've got someone just like Hani has, or just like Phil Heath has Hani. You know what I mean? Or Hadi has Hani, whatever.
Who the fuck
They got someone
are
too.
they?
They got someone. They got somebody that's getting them the shit, and they're not telling anyone. And they're keeping it a little secret
Yeah.
between him and his gym bro, who's hooking him up. That's what it is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's got to be one or two guys that are getting all the business, and then they're
I
just
mean,
passing.
look. I
Because
know
I don't,
if,
none of us, no, nobody that I know is getting it, and they're not. I mean, I don't think you're not getting it. You're saying, and you're very
no,
well
but
known.
in my family, my brother is an actor, and if he had a part that he had to look like that for, it'd be over. Let's go to work. I know what to
Yeah,
do. I'd have him looking crazy, but and he was a former bodybuilder, a very good one too.
it's
So
it's got to be a really good industry to get into. I mean, some of the coaches like the some of the guys like Goggins. I think he's huge on Instagram. The ex Navy SEAL.
yeah,
He
I
went
don't think
he went to
though.
live with a guy. He went to live with a guy for a month to help him
Yeah,
basically stop being. But the guy was like, he wasn't a bodybuilder. He just needed a kick in
he was
the ass. So
obese.
he went.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
he just went and stayed with him for a month, and and he was basically his drill sergeant for a month, and
yeah.
something like that. I mean, something like that. These guys have the
Nah,
the
man.
the amount of
The-
money to pay for
what
something like
what needs to happen is a group of people need to come together, a coach, a guru, a dietitian, and they come together and they're like a team and they hit up Hollywood and they'll be like, look, whenever you have a role and you want your clients to look a certain way, whether it's fat, skinny, whatever, bring them to us. We'll help them get there. You never know. They might want someone to get fat for a show. The dietitian's got to recommend to them like 2 pizzas a day and a couple sodas and a Big Mac or something. You know what I mean?
that. Yeah.
You never
Somebody's
know.
getting that work. Somebody's getting that work. They're just keeping it quiet because there's definitely a lot of these guys out there
All
changing the
that
way they
money,
look.
there's got to be
It's,
something, man.
there's got to be something going on. I know. I know. All I know is I'm not getting there. Getting it?
I mean,
Are you
the
getting
funny
it?
thing is that it's a very select few people that are in it with the great bodies, and they
Yeah.
end up getting the best roles, and that's it. You know what I mean? That like I don't think Tom Cruise ever took anything, but it's questionable though. There's a few times where he looked really, really good. You know?
And he is like one of the action heroes out there, right? I mean, he's Mr. Mission
Yeah.
Impossible. He's
Mission
so like
Impossible, exactly.
you
Exactly.
know, watching Keanu Reeves do everything in John Wick, all those moves. He actually went to a jujitsu studio and
Sure.
actually learned, man. So these guys are top level stuff. So, man, it was a great interview today, brother. I kept you on for a good while, man. We talked about everything. I should have you back to talk a little bit more about steroids, just what you're feeling on it on those are. And let me ask you this before I go, if you don't mind. And I want to plug some of your stuff too, but um, you've been in the game for a long time. You're kind of like me, old school. We're focused on different things. I- I'm still not, my mind's not fully made up about SARMs. I've used some. I've had because they have additional health benefits or and additional benefits to performance and healing that I don't find in steroids. But I'm still a little bit weird because I mean steroids been used for a couple of generations now. They got approved at some point for prescription. They got rolled back, whatever. But a lot of guys are taking SARMs. They've become very popular. It's undeniable that they work. It's sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes easier to get legitimate SARMs than it is to get legitimate juice on the market
Mhm.
out there. Unfortunately, what do you think about SARMs? And is that something any guys are using now that you've talked to up to competition? And what have been the effects?
Well, I've been friends with Tony Huge for a while. I helped him for 3 shows with Enhanced Athlete.
He's a cool cat. I've talked to him a few times. He's a cool cat.
Yeah, I consider him my friend, and he's a big proponent, advocate of SARMs and the benefits of them and so forth. I think it's going to be here. It's here to stay. I think people like him are going to figure out better ways to use it. It's going to take people like him to figure out better ways to use it until I talk to him and I find there is a certain method that he tells me is like a cycle of this, or do this for this amount of time, or try that, this is what's going to happen, and it's definitive, then I'm just going to wait. I believe he's pretty close on a few of those things. He's found different, he's gone through the trying them all and identifying with what does what. So now I think he's in the stage of where he's going to put it all together and actually have different SARMs and SARMs protocols, not just 1, 2 drugs, maybe more than one drug, maybe rotating it with steroids too. But I think that's kind of where we're at, because they're different receptors ultimately. You could do, let's say, oral steroids for 2 days, maybe SARMs for 2 days. You could do that also. That may actually be better. I don't really know. To be honest with you, unfortunately I've perfected what I did with steroids, growth hormone, insulin. I didn't really need IGF-1 because I was creating it with growth hormone and insulin at the right amounts. I didn't think it was necessary for any more, to be honest with you. But even when I had IGF-1, that what I was doing with was already 100%, and I didn't see it realistically that anybody needed to do anything more than that. Now, what I didn't take into consideration is that there are more than one way to get to 100%. Okay.
Right.
Um, there are other ways that can get you there, but we haven't studied enough behind it what that all entails. Does that way possibly entail some damaging effects, or how much of it does it take? In the long term, what's going to be studied is that, and then a few years from now, there'll be some definitive research from this people doing it. It'll be on the internet as to the effectiveness of these things, because enough people will get their blood tested and they'll figure it out, and then we'll have some data behind it to know what's effective, what's not. But until then, my biggest problem with SARMs, and I'd say probably my only problem with SARMs, is that we really don't have the quality control to really know what it really is that we're consuming. We just don't know. We believe it may be RAD 140. We believe it may be Ligandrol. We may believe it may be, but okay, let's say it is. What else is in it? Is there some shit that you don't want in it? Because I mean, it's not really for human consumption. So if the Chinese are putting that on the bottle or the bag or whatever it is that you're getting, do you think for 1 second they really give a shit if you consume it, even if it didn't say not for human consumption? They don't care. There's probably some toxic shit in it. And I'm just saying, on the whole, there's cheap ways to make stuff, and SARMs are cheap. I'm sure they're made a cheap way, and you just can't hold that to the standard. Now, in the long term, if you're really concerned about your health, you have to be concerned about what you put in you, and you cannot let your obsession for your hobbies, or whatever, your obsession for your obsessions, put it that way.
Right.
You
Right.
you can't let that dictate the outcome of your health. You can't just say, I want to look like this. There is no pharma grade, so I'm going to take UGL. Well, unfortunately, there's too many of those mentality out there. The mentality that should be taken, which is the mentality of the long run, is, well, I can't find any real pharma gear right now, so I'm going to focus on training 3 times a week instead of training 5 times a week. I'm going to try to maintain what I have, and I'm going to work really hard at trying to find real pharma gear. And that's it. The discussion does not go outside of, if I can't get pharma gear, I'm not going to take it. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Everybody's marketing a brand of UGL that everybody claims is better than everybody else's. And the problem with every UGL, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to drag this on, but I got to tell you this. The problem with every
Oh, it's
UGL,
interesting. Keep it going. Keep it going, man. Take your time.
it's that the actual components of the salts that they send you are made low quality. So testosterone that you get from China is nothing like American pharmaceutical testosterone. And at the end of the day, it has a heavier molecular weight. The lighter molecular weight, the purer the drug is. Okay. When you see the pharmaceutical drug and you look in the pamphlet, it's going to have a molecular weight on there, 22,000 something, whatever. Okay. And that weight is what it should be at its purest form, with everything that went into it being the purest possible, every ingredient to extract, all the chemicals, all the highest quality of everything. Okay. No stone unturned. That's, you're going to get the lowest weight. Everything else doesn't weigh anything close to that. So when you want to know what the molecular weight is of the raw anavar that they have versus the raw anavar that is from the pharmaceutical company, The molecular weight is different. So what's that mean? Oh, so what? I mean, it just weighs a little bit more. Really, what difference does that make? If that more is heavy metals, you get heavy metal contamination over a long period of time. Okay. If that more is fillers, it could be all kinds of things that could be bad for you. From one thing, from cause ulcers, the next thing it could cause, lacerations in the intestinal walls, and then ultimately it could cause bleeding in the blood vessels because of these impurities. And these impurities, they're not to be taken lightly, because in America, or at least with pharmaceutical companies around the world, there's a standard. It has to be like 99.95 or above. I mean, it's pretty much got to be 100% pure. I mean, and what we get, well, and here's the thing: when you get veterinarian grade, you're getting Mexican maybe 95, maybe, American 97 at lowest, 97%. Okay, now UGL, you're lucky if it's upper 80s, 90s. Period.
You are right about some things, man. I get when I'm in, because I travel to South America quite a bit. I'm from there, have family there, and when I'm there, you could just walk into Farmacia and pick up Bayer, Nebido.
Yeah,
You can pick up Testoviron.
yeah.
You can go to vet clinic and pick up Ganabol 50, big
Aquapolis,
250
yeah.
millimeter jugs, and man, just a little stack of that I found. Um,
Better.
it's a lot stronger than even when I've taken three or four different things in higher amounts
Man,
that are just
let's talk.
UG. Yeah,
Let's talk about the EQ, right? The EQ, that Ganabol. That Ganabol is fire. People don't even know how strong that is, right?
love that
I
Ganabol.
had Tornell
Incredible.
too. Listen, you get that? It's 50 milligrams per ml. Okay, a boss cycle. I'm telling you, boss cycle. 2 cc's 3 times a week. You're fucking killing everything. Your bench is going through the roof. You're strong. You look crazy. You're hard. You're strong as fuck. You're crazy. You're hard. No, not really much water. And so that's 300 milligrams. Now you look at the stuff they have at the UGL right now. It's 300 milligrams per ml. People are taking 3 mLs of that. They're taking 900 milligrams, and it's still not as good as the 300 milligrams of the vet shit.
Different quality product for sure, for sure. It's incredible. It's
More
great.
impurities. And the funny
Yeah.
thing is again, it could weigh, it could be 200 milligrams per ml or whatever it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? It could be what it's supposed to be. If it says 200 and the farmer grades 200, it could be that. But there's other shit in it that may make that 200 not work as well as the pure 200. The delivery system, Anavar was like that. Original pharma grade Anavar has lactose in it. It has lactose for a reason. And it wasn't bodybuilders, I don't think, figured this out until the 80s, until there were some people that were getting smooth off Anavar and some people got crazy hard off Anavar. And it took somebody to figure out that the person was lactose intolerant. And that amount of lactose in the pills was setting off giving them an allergic reaction, making them hold a film. Well, there was a reason that the original formula for actual name brand Anavar from Cyril had lactose in it, and it was because it did something about binding it to the point where it passed some part of the intestinal or the digestion process. And then at the point where it released it, it's where it absorbed the best. Now, that's how good pharmaceutical companies are. They don't just put shit binders in their drugs. The binders they put in their drugs are specific to release the drug in the body at the right time. You're not going to get that when you get UGL stuff, and you don't know when it's going to release, and it could just hit your stomach and burn out because it doesn't have enough stuff to protect it and pass it on through, like Anavar, or or it could go maybe too far without getting absorbed. Maybe a pill's pressed too hard; it doesn't have enough binders to release it with the acid in the stomach, so it stays pressed and then it leaves you basically excrete it out like a watermelon seed. So shit like that happens, man, because the people that are making the UGLs they don't have the skill, they don't understand. They think that people just put why am I going to pay extra for a binder? I'll just put it in a capsule, blah blah blah. And they don't understand that the raw powder is maybe not even as good as the right binders. It's an art, man.
You remember back in the day the way you knew your pills were bunk because you could crush it with your fingertips. If you
Yep.
crush
Yep.
one of your now all the stuff when you open the bag's all dusty in there. The pills are crumbling, most of them. And also, you remember when we used to get amps back in the day, the way
Uh-huh.
you knew the amp was legit because you could not scratch the letters off of it with your fingernail.
Oh, the
Yeah,
silk screen was real. Yeah.
yeah. And maybe sometimes some of the stuff back then made in Asia, Middle East, the heads of the amps tended to be somewhat inconsistent. But like if you got some
Some
sharing
were
stuff,
long,
if you,
some were long. I've had all kinds of really cool ass looking amps, man.
yeah,
You know, from all over the world, different sustenance, different sharings, you know. But
yeah, but
they're
but
counterfeited
they were
now
they were
too.
less every time because there's some UGs that actually make amps and they're so inconsistent with the heads, the sizing on them. It's just the quality of the craftsmanship just in how the product is packaged. It's so different than when we used to get. Dude, I remember Norma Hellas, Sam Bones back in the day.
Yeah,
There was another.
Sambones. Yeah.
There was another
I
really
had a
nice
big
50
ass
million.
bag full of those motherfuckers, man. Like 5,000 of them shits, man. Jeez.
Now, now they make
Sambo.
Winstrol in oil, and it's not cloudy
It
anymore.
ain't
You
the
can't
same,
the
man. It
Winstrol
don't
in
make you
oil now.
crispy. It don't make you crispy like that stuff. Dude, I remember back, I had an actual bottle of the real Winthrop Winstrol V. That's how far I go back.
You remember the Ready Jacks back in the day? I don't think you get. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you could get those in South
Oh
America
yeah.
still. They had big 22 mg needles sword.
Yeah, yeah.
Refer. Remember that old animal Refer beat?
Of course, for 4B. Yeah. I
Oh,
love it. I love it.
tasted terrible.
Strong. Made you
I actually
sweat
have it.
smell. Made you sweat smell.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Absolutely. And then there was a transition in the veterinarian labs in Mexico where they were really at to start making the stuff for animals. And okay, bodybuilders are kind of using it on the side. All right, whatever, it's for
So
animals.
you're talking about
Well,
Quality Bet, Dencal,
well,
Bravo,
well, well, that
right?
was that. It was a two-step. First, a guy came out with a company named Tokyo, and
Tokyo. Yeah, Tokyo. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he would basically he's the one who started putting 300 and 400 milligrams of stuff per cc. And at first because it wasn't being done in pharma or being done in veterinarian was even less concentration.
Yeah.
People started saying, hey, you can't really do that, it won't hold. And everybody was wrong, you can actually hold it. And he went out of business, but after he gone for whatever reason, then that's when Animal Power, Brovel, Dencal, Quality Vet, all these guys came out, and then they that all ended. That whole group ended with Operation Gear Grinder, I believe, wasn't it? When they went into Mexico and shut all those guys down back in the
Yeah.
mid 2000s.
Yeah. Yep.
That was
Yeah, that
that
was
was
a
interesting.
big
They
bust.
went there, huge bust, but man, did they make some good gear, bro.
They
Quality
did,
Vet,
man. Quality Bet. I was
Animal
about to
Pop,
say Quality Bet had some good shit, man.
then Cal, the first time that I saw um a good trembolone that you could buy that was ready to inject, that you didn't have to extract from pellets, it was Dencal brought the first trembolone out that I remember. And I
And
think after
Quality
that
Bet had Quality Bet had Winstrol V that was water based and suspension that was water based that you could inject and it didn't fuck you up.
didn't fuck you up. I remember the it used to have nice little foam pieces, and it wasn't like cotton inside of their pill bottles. They were nice pill bottles with foam. I mean, the packaging was incredible. The presentation, the oils. I mean, it was just top grade stuff that they made for bodybuilders back then. And then after that, I mean, it was
No
what
crimp marks, bro. Remember, there were no crimp marks on the bottles. The bottles were all sealed with a real machine.
Yeah, now you get some UG stuff that
All
if you turn
crimp
the
marks,
vial upside
dude.
down and you put pressure in it to draw, sometimes the damn thing pop will pop out.
Turns.
I've had that happen
Shit,
to me.
yeah, she'll turn. Yeah, it's garbage, man. They don't know what they're
Yeah,
doing, these
and then
people. The top
the,
is never supposed to turn. If you're anybody out there listening to this, if you get a bottle of injectable stuff, the first thing you do is grab it and twist the top. Hold the cap on it. Don't break the cap because then you got to buy it. But hold it all together and see if you can twist the metal on the top. If you can, give it back to the person. Don't buy it. Okay, you should never be able to twist the top off the bottle ever, even if
there's
it's
air
real
coming in and
pharmaceutical
out of
stuff.
there.
Well, if it's real pharmaceutical stuff, that means somebody took the top off, sucked the stuff out, and put the top back on. You can do that. There are some people that have done that.
one thing, guys, is there's air coming in and out of there, and that
Yeah,
bottle will breathe. It's even if it just
yeah.
between day and night, a quick change in temperature, day and night, it's enough to make that
And
bottle
the
breathe a little
alcohol
bit.
will burn out too. The alcohol
Yep.
will evaporate out of it because of the air, and then next thing you know, it's just a cesspool waiting to big abscess in your ass or a shot.
S quality vet and all these guys were getting busted. British Dragon came around. You remember
Mm-hmm.
British
Mm-hmm.
Dragon?
Yeah,
They were a huge thing for a while. British Dragon. There was a couple
they were
other.
good too.
Yeah, but see, this was like the first time I saw that somebody said, okay, we're gonna develop a UG brand. We're not really gonna register shit. We're just gonna tell people we're registered in Europe somewhere, and we're just gonna pump the stuff out and not even bother registering. But British Dragon, as far as I understood back in the day, was made in actual pharmaceutical facilities, big labs, under strict standards. They just never bothered to register anywhere with anyone about it. And they were contracting labs that supposedly were registered labs, but in those countries they could do midnight runs for other people and look
Mm-hmm.
the other way,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And that went on for a while. But then I guess when you get around 2011, 2012, 2013, that's when I really saw. I mean, there were some aficionados like me that knew you can get all these raws from China in very tiny amounts, little sample amounts, and whip them up. And once you knew enough about it, you could actually tell just by looking at it
Mm-hmm.
what was enacted. Well, just by the consistency of it, you knew the length of the ester would change the consistency. You knew what you were looking at, and that. But really around 2011, 2012, 2013, that's when I realized, like, holy shit, every gym guy out there is making shit in their house, or if they got a buddy that's making it for people locally.
Yeah,
And then,
that's when it
you know,
changed.
all
Yeah.
that's when it shits around 11 from 2011 to about 2013, 2014 is when I realized, like, man, the game has changed a ton. Now the gym guy is kind of back in the game, because of the internet. The gym dealer wasn't as popular for I think a decade. And then, but now they're making stuff locally. Guys are whipping stuff up locally, and it's more dangerous now because the raw materials are sometimes being made in facilities that are not really supposed to be making these raw materials.
Mm.
Fly by night stuff, even all the way back to China. You have some facilities there that are making this stuff at midnight and have it in the same room being stored in the same places as pesticides and things that shouldn't be in the area. And that's where you
Exactly.
pick up some of this contamination from, some of the fumes and some of the overflow
Sure.
of particles that come from this
Yeah.
manufacturing. And it goes on, and you know what I mean. The machines could be 20 feet away, 10 feet away, where they're making a batch of steroids and they're making a batch of something fucking dangerous
Yep.
that that a few micrograms might affect you.
Sure.
And they're doing it in the same facility, and that's where a lot of the contamination. And this all started happening after the Beijing Olympics, because before Beijing, man, the raws coming out of China were clean, bro. Before the Beijing Olympics, all the fucking raws coming out of there, the stuff aficionados used to get for just your little home stash, was actually pretty damn good stuff. But then after Beijing, the main labs that were making this stuff shut down. Because they're compliant with their laws in China. They make millions. They don't want to rock their boat. And then you had some of the bottom feeders that shouldn't have been making it under circumstances and in ways they shouldn't have been, storing it and transferring it in ways it shouldn't be done. And that's what we get now, what you're talking about, man. All this gear with heavy metals, with the shit just doesn't work the same, where the molecular weight changes on the hormone, all these little fucked up problems, where it might test to the just a regular test. It might test like, yeah, it's 98% testosterone. But if you really examine it further, a good percentage of that, 30-40%, might have a different molecular weight, and the hormones just don't work the same. And definitely,
Yeah.
it's
How
a
how do they
different.
get to that number? That's the question. See, the way the pharmaceutical people make it, it's the best way to get to that milligram dose. But the way the UGL makes it, they don't do it the best way. They get to the milligram dose, but they don't do it the best way.
Yeah, incredible time to be alive now with these compounds, and it seems like we're gonna have a new SARM or two and a new peptide or two being introduced into the public now every year.
Yeah,
That's that's the
there's a
way it
few
looks.
Tonys talking to there's a few Tonys talking to me about that. I'm really surprised, and I'm kind of want to try this one that he says it's like primo acetate. I'm like, I
Well,
don't know. Like I want to hold him to it. I really want to say it is, because that'd be great if it is. I'm telling everybody, but I wanna know, because I think primo acetate oral is the best oral in my
well, I
opinion
was
for bodybuilding.
there's so many ways to find these compounds that can benefit your physique, can benefit your performance. Guys are they're looking at all the literature that is put out by pharmaceutical companies because they're trying to drum up business. They're trying to pick up their stock prices, right? So they're letting the public know what they're working on, what trials they're, what phases, and releasing some of this information. And all these house chemists, these bodybuilding chemists are picking up this stuff, having it made in China. There are guys digging the crates for all patents and all drugs that have been patented and licensed by pharmaceutical companies that were taken off the market for one reason or another, replaced, patents ran out
Yeah,
on them, and
Coach Trevor was big
they're
into that.
now
Yeah, Coach Trevor was big. I met him. He's a cool dude, man. He,
Canadian Coach Trevor
well, Coach Trevor with Tony Hughes with Enhanced
with Tony,
Athlete.
but
Yeah,
he's got I think he's got two Trevors. He's got kind of bold muscular Trevor, and then he's got
yeah.
skinny
No,
kind of a
ball
blonde hair Trevor.
the ball big guy.
Bald big fella.
Yeah.
Yes, smart dude. I remember I've watched
Yeah,
some of his content.
he's really educated. Actually, people don't know. He's got a degree and everything. He's a smart guy. Actually, listen to some of the stuff he said, and I think that's part of the reason why Tony's into SARMs. I think that he got a lot of good advice from Coach Trevor.
It always takes, really, for all this stuff. It takes a team, really. It's hard for one person to kind of do it all and get through all of this research. When I started doing a podcast, because I do 3 episodes a week now. When I started doing I said, you know what, I'm gonna get good cadence, 2 3 episodes a week, and in about a year I would have covered pretty much everything that needs to be covered, everything I know about these compounds. And there's new shit coming out every few months, new
Right.
compounds, new peptides, new SARMs. There's new studies being done on just even the stuff that we've had for decades now. New studies coming out, new information being released. So we're just never gonna run out of shit to talk about, or things to research, and being in this realm, being in this world. It's incredible.
No, let's see how many questions we get from this, and I'll answer some more about drugs if you've wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, listen, my man. Definitely great having you, brother. I really appreciate your time. I'll shoot you a link over to where we're publishing the podcast. Give the guys that are listening some plugs if they want to get in contact with you, if they want your service, if they need advice. Where do you lead them?
Best way to reach me right now is probably through Instagram, which is Guru_Ameen Ameen, and that's two E's. And you could also send me an email at Guru Ameen Alai, GuruAmeenAlai @gmail.com, or guruameenalai.com is the email. Sorry, the website. It's getting redone, but if you get on it, you can still reach my email.
I'll go ahead and put all of those links and your email address on the description of this podcast. So wherever you're listening to this podcast, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, wherever you're listening to, grab your phone right now, grab your device, open where it shows you the details of the podcast, and you'll get the links so you can check them out. You help out normal people as well, right? Not just competitors. So if there's lawyers, doctors, engineers, candle makers, right? If they
I
need
have
your
people
services,
that
you help them out, right?
I have people that want to look good for weddings. I have people that just want to have access to me for the rest of their lives, so they just want to have me on call. I have doctors that I work. I actually have a few doctors that I help. It's really surprising that doctors wanted me to help them with their anabolics, but I guess so. When they get in their specialization, they're not thinking of anything else. And when they wanted to think of who was the doctor of steroids, not the anabolic doc, because that guy, that's a whole other story. But who is the guy that knows quite a bit about these drugs? And I guess that they thought of me, so I feel really proud that I'm able to work with professionals and get to talk to them also about blood tests and things like that. So it really helps. But yeah, I help anyone. I help some people that just want to do photo shoots, and then of course I help people that are pros and amateurs, and I help people that are obese. A lot of people don't know that. I've worked with a lot of people that are obese and helped them lose over 100 pounds healthy and better blood work and overall get their lives back in order too. So, just trying to spread some of the knowledge that I learned from bodybuilding and from other avenues from bodybuilding that I helped to be able to give back to the people and hopefully help some people help their lives.
That's incredible, man. Well, you guys know out there, if you want to contact them, you'll have all the information and just get going. It just takes you making that decision to get help from someone. Look, we get a lot of guys asking questions. I always tell guys, if you go on a show, get a coach. If you are having trouble, if you don't know what to do, just pay someone to help you out. And it's definitely the best way. And also, once you make that commitment and you get with someone that makes you accountable, it'll get you going on the right path. So, hey man, thank you very much again for the interview today. Hopefully we can
Great.
do
Have a
this
great
again.
weekend. Have a
Yeah,
great
man.
holiday weekend, right?
Same to you. Let's chat and try to do this again another time. We'll set up some more topics. It seems we had a lot of stuff to talk about today, brother. It was incredible. Thank you very much.
Right on, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, that was it for the interview with Guru Ameen Alai. I'll definitely have him over again. It was a great interview. I think you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you here next week where we'll have something else. Have a good one. Hey guys, so this is just that legal disclaimer. I am not a doctor. None of my guests so far are doctors. Do not take anything we say as medical advice. You need to go talk to your own doctor before you do any drugs, any sort of diuretics or anything weird like that. Anything. Go to your doctor first. I'm not a doctor. Don't fucking listen to me. This is all for entertainment purposes only. Have a good one, guys.